like to tell us who you are and your role?
My name is Wiedemann. I work as a project manager for a project called Smart Country in the Bertelsmann Stiftung. Stiftung means foundation, and the Bertelsmann Stiftung is one of the biggest foundations, at least as far as I know, in Europe. In our project, we have certain activities on digitalization in local communities, and we're not focusing on the big smart cities, but rather on smaller cities in rural areas. And we have some projects going on. I mean, the topic is very broad, digitalization in cities. So we're always trying to pick some interesting topics, and one of them is open data, and has been for the past 4 or 5 years.
So,
just one last aspect. We have a big data platform. It's called Wegweiser Kommune, and it provides data on more than 300 indicators on many diverse topics, such as demographic change and education, finances, and but only for those cities who have more than 5,000 inhabitants.
So tell us about your journey with open data with die Bertelsmann Stiftung and the situation in Germany specifically.
Well, in our project, we started to publish studies on open data. The first one was dealing with the benefits of open data in 2017, I think it was. And yes, step by step, we started to publish our own studies and our own data as open data. And so far, not the whole Bertelsmann Stiftung is publishing its data, but we're working on it. 3 years ago, we started to work on it. 3 years, that's a long time, but it takes time in such a big organization. And we started to work on an open data policy. And we're going forward, and so far there are not many non-government organizations in Germany that really publish open data. So somehow we are front runners. We have some projects that already publish their data, and I hope that in the next maybe 2 years that most of our projects in the Bertelsmann Stiftung publish open data. And our project is concentrating on open data on the local level. In Germany, we have the federal level, then we have the Länder, and then the local level, and we are focusing on the local level. And you have some front runners, big cities like, for example, Cologne, or Bonn, Hamburg, Berlin, that have been publishing open data for maybe 7, 8, 9 years, something like that. But still, it's only maybe approximately 200 local communities out of 11,000. So there's still a long, long way. And we offer open data workshops for free for cities. And we always have many guests, many participants, and it's more and more cities who are really interested in publishing open data. But as I said, there's still a long way to go.
So can you tell us about how #ODFA came into existence?
You mean the whole idea of
the concept of creating the toolkit.
We visited Nathan a few years ago in England, and we also went to the Open Data Institute and went to Edinburgh. And I really liked the idea, his idea of involving civil society in open data activities. And yes, one day he asked, why can't we host an open data workshop involving civil society in Germany? And I said, okay, yeah, that's a good idea, because as far as I know, something like this doesn't happen here in Germany. Here we concentrate rather on the supply side, not on the demand side of open data. I live in Münster, and I know the guy who is responsible for the open data activities here in the city of Münster. And I asked him if he'd be interested in hosting such a workshop. And yeah, immediately he said, okay, let's do that. And yeah, then we asked Nathan if he'd like to come here and to help us, to support us, and he did. And yes. And after the workshop, we had the idea of making a toolbox out of it, so other cities could also benefit from what we had done. And yeah, that's the story behind it.
Brilliant. So why do you think it was important to create a tool such as #ODFA to help the government to interact with local NGOs over open data?
First of all, I think it's important because most of the NGOs here in Germany do not know anything about the benefits of open data, how they can use it, or maybe even they have never heard about it. And so I think, yeah, raising awareness is one thing. But also, as I mentioned earlier, cities here in Germany concentrate on the supply side. So yeah, they try to find any data that could be interesting for people out there, and or maybe they just try to find data that are easy to get, where nobody says privacy or anything like that. And so they are publishing without knowing actually what kind of data could be interesting. And so I think involving NGOs yeah, is one step towards a more demand-driven open data policy. And yeah.
Yeah. So in Germany especially, what do you believe are the biggest barriers for third sector organizations using open data within their work?
First of all, I would say knowledge. I think that most of the NGOs here are struggling with digitalizing their non-profit activities, if you know what I mean. That's the first challenge for them. And yeah, if they succeed, then yeah, data would be the next step. But so many organizations here haven't digitalized, and that's actually their first challenge. And yeah, I mean, it's non-profit work. They have their jobs, and so it's knowledge. They have to invest time, and yeah, so that's very difficult. And yeah, skills, a lack of skills. They would need some time to yeah, maybe, I don't know, have some workshops or things like that. I myself, I have 3 children, and apart from my job, I hardly have any time to read anything. And so I know that it's yeah, really a challenge for people working in non-profit organizations. They have so much to do, and then they also have to yeah, have to know how to use data. That's really difficult. And here's also a lack of yeah, education opportunities for people working in non-government organizations. So yeah, they simply don't know where they could go to educate themselves. yeah, that would be the biggest problems, I think.
So does the toolkit, the hashtag?
Oh, sorry, but I think too few data is also one aspect, because there were still also big cities that do not publish any data, and so how could the NGOs use data if the city doesn't publish any data? So it's more of a cycle. Maybe there were too few data. There's a lack of knowledge and skills, and so cities should provide more data, and NGOs would have to invest some time in building up capacities.
Yes, so the toolkit, the hashtag ODFA, does that seek to kind of rectify these problems that are causing people working in the third sector or NGOs to be less able to access this open data?
So could you repeat that? I don't know if I really get the point.
So with the toolkit, is that hoping to help the situation so that people working in NGOs or third sector organizations can get on board with open data and help kind of solve some of these problems?
Yes, definitely. I think it's not the solution for every problem in regards to open data on a local level, but I think the most important point is that it raises awareness. I mean, it's only a few hours on one day, but you have a basis. You have heard about open data, you get the idea, and maybe you are interested in this, and then you read more and more, and so it's a foundation. It's laying a basis, providing a basis. And then it's also important because it can create a network of civil society actors, of government officials, and people are starting talking to each other on this topic, and this can also be a way to educate yourself regarding open data. I think it's not the solution for everything, but it can definitely be a starting point.
Yeah, definitely. So finally, what advice would you give to government workers in regards to downloading and running their own hashtag ODFA toolkit?
First of all, I would say just try it. If your city is already publishing open data, why not hosting such a workshop, trying to involve actors in your community that are either already working with open data or that could benefit from working with open data. And then try to get many government officials on board, not only you, not only one man or woman who's responsible for open data activities. You need to have some people who are supporting you, especially in a big city. The bigger it is, the more people you need in your network. So that will be the second point. Get some other government officials on board, and use all the channels you have to make it public, to let the people know that you have such a workshop in your city, and not only using the social media channels or press releases, but also getting in touch directly with the NGOs. That's what we did here in Münster, or what Thomas Werner, have you already interviewed him?
I'm speaking to him on Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you will talk to him. And that's what Thomas Werner in Münster did. He got in touch with many organizations. And then, I think we had 10 or 12 organizations. And I think that most of them were joining because Thomas asked them directly. So, talk to the people, not only via social media channels or press releases, and then there will be some people who are interested in your workshop.